targeted. We had some conversations to make sure that we were prepared. Those situations that we talked about a few weeks ago prior to the draft that we went through on Monday, and this was a very, very easy pick for us.
Mike, does Will, you spoke with him, does he remind you of like a younger Mike Vrabel? How tough he is, aggressive?
No, I mean we stay out of the comparisons in that business. This is a young player who cares deeply about the team. Is a leader in that room, and but to compare him to me or anybody else, no. I mean, but we love his football character, his play demeanor, his play style, how coachable he is, and a 21-year-old player that's started 38 of 40 games in the SEC is something that is impressive.
Mike, when and how did Will cement himself as the pick for you guys in this process?
Well, I mean, I think probably last week when Elliot and I and Ryan and a few others went down and spent time with him and worked him out, and then went and worked out a few more players the same day, and we made a circuit, and I think when we came back and we slept on it and had the conversations about where it would be if he was on the board, and I think probably then.
Mike, is he a left tackle?
Yeah, I mean that's where he started, and he's a left tackle, and that's what he's played, that's what he's done, and so he'll come in here and he'll compete to be the left tackle, just like everybody else is going to compete for their spots. That's what we're trying to create here. It is something that there's competition at every position, and that our players believe that the best players are going to play.
You said throughout this process that arm length wasn't a thing, wasn't a problem for you guys in terms of overall evaluation. When you met with Will, how comfortable have you been with that over the course of a year and kind of getting to know him and kind of understanding who he is as a player?
Everybody has a play style, everybody has a skill set. And it's what you do within that skill set and the tricks that you learn in this business and how you play and how you do your job, right? And so I think he's learned a lot of those to play on the left side and to pass protect. And, for a taller player, he sinks his hips in a run game and is able to stay attached in the pass game and widen the pocket and create the width of the pocket and get out on the perimeter. So, it's a total package, right? And if you drop back and you throw the ball 40 times in this league, it's tough sledding for anybody, right? Let me just tell you that. Like if it turns into a drop back passing game in the National Football League, it's going to be an issue for anybody. And when you talk about play style, it's how is he going to be able to create that and be able to for offensive linemen, it's so much about a reaction of resetting your hand, chopping the arm down, all these tricks of the trade that they use, and they have to be able to make great decisions and split-second decisions. So, his body of work is out there on the left side against a lot of really good rushers. They're all going to get beat, okay? So we can watch every time that a left tackle gets beat. They all get beat. I've been in this league for 25 years, and But I'm confident in how quickly he is able to process and change and have a lot of different pitches at such a young age.
Right, so I'm curious, you brought in Morgan Moses this offseason. How important is it now to have such a veteran kind of leader in the room at tackle, bringing in a younger guy in Will Campbell?
Well, the more leadership that we can have, the better. And I've appreciated Morgan since the time that I've known him personally. There's a lot of people around here in our building that had a high affinity for him, going through the free agency process. And, it became evident to me quickly that this was the type of person and player that we wanted on our football team. And he is going to help not only Will, but everybody else in that room and anybody else that will add through the course of 3 days. So I love everything that Morgan is about as a person, as a father, and he communicates with me. He's raising three boys, three young boys, and that's probably his most important job right now, and I would agree with that.
Did you talk to him at all during that process? about like tackle and just what to look for specifically in terms of like you know, getting on the tackle or anything like that?
No, I mean, I have a pretty good idea. I think Elliot has a pretty good idea. I think Ryan and everybody else in our personnel department has a pretty good idea on what to look for when you're talking about offensive linemen. And but we value, again, we value all our players' opinions on things, and they all have them. Some are better than others.
There's been a lot of discussion about movement in the first round. Obviously, the Browns were able to find a deal at 2. Did you guys receive any offers for the 4th and 5th?
No, I think at this point in time it was pretty quiet. I think we would have entertained anything that anybody offered us, but it was pretty quiet. I mean, I think everybody was going up for 2 players, and one was already there, and they didn't have to move, and the other team that wanted to get to 2 got there. So, we would have been open, but excited to be able to get stay there and pick and get Will.
Like with the chips you have, with the extra 3rd round pick, do you anticipate any aggressive move to try to get back in here?
I think if the right players are there, give us something to do tonight, so we're not just sitting there watching. And but just not to go up for just to go up. So if somebody's there that we have rated at a great spot and a great value, I think then we could go back up. But we'll see as the draft goes on and who comes off the board, and whether we just sit there and wait till tomorrow.
Mike, if Will eventually has to move inside, is this a misevaluation this high in the draft at 4th overall?
I think that what we're focused on is where he's going to be tomorrow and the next day, and not what the misevaluation is. Like we coveted this player. This was a very good football player, and so I think part of the draft is adding great pieces and great players to your roster, which is what we did. So he hasn't even shown up here in Foxborough, and we're not going to talk about where he's going to play or what he's going to do. I'm going to let everything really speak for itself and let his play and what he does in the community and most importantly on the field before we start talking about that. I just think that's not fair. I've never thought about that one time. We've watched every game that he's played, put a lot of work into this, and we're all excited and happy that he's here.
In terms of his character, how does he just fit the mold of what you're looking to build?
Well, there's a play style, there's a play demeanor. I'll just tell you this, when we went down there to work him out, he showed up with one purpose, and that was for us to pick him. From the time that we walked in the building to the time that we left and got on the plane, he had one objective, and that was to prove to us that he was the right player for us. I'll say that, and I can speak for everybody else that was there.
Mike, what is the, I don't want to say what is the timeline for him, but with a young player at a premium position like that, how important is it to take your time in terms of his development to get him ready to eventually play left tackle?
All the time. It's just block your guy. When you talk about coming from they threw the ball a ton. Like let's not kid ourselves. Like he had more drop back snaps than pretty much anybody else in college football. Like they threw the ball 50 times and it wasn't RPOs like everybody else. So he's pass protected. He's run blocked. He's coming out of a pro system. The terminology, he's already been through it. I don't know how many times with our guys and with me, and I think it's going to be a quick learning curve as far as the scheme. And then again, there's going to be a learning curve and adjustment to everything that he does. But he's coming from a great program, one that's built similar to pro football. Football is very important to him, and but we'll also, just like every other player, we'll give them exactly what they can handle.
There's a report that you were involved in the workout last week. You threw a blocking pad on. Why is that important for you to be involved in that?
Well, who made that report? And then I'll answer the question.
Pete Campbell?
Okay, well, Pete's Mr. College Football. Yeah, they all knocked me around pretty good. I realized I'm close to 50, and if that tape ever gets out, people are going to have some problems. So I hope that tape never sees the light of day. But I think it was important for me to get out there and feel them, and feel every player that we evaluated at the line of scrimmage.
What, if anything, has surprised you about this process?
Well, no, I mean, it's not like I just showed up here in January for the first time. I mean, I've been in the league a long time, so nothing surprises me in this league anymore. There's just, distractions that are going to happen throughout our team with our season. They're unavoidable. So I hope no one ever says, hey, we want to eliminate distractions, because I would say that that's impossible. We just want to handle them the best that we can and be ready for them and be prepared for them.
How important is it to have the kind of vinegar he brings to the table for an offensive lineman?
I think that's, one of the only ways that you can survive. It's as a player in this league at the line of scrimmage. The play demeanor, the finish, the effort. I mean, the guys on the other side are talented. I mean, it's how it goes. I think we can all see that, and so there's a lot to playing this game other than just looking good and having great technique. And so we valued that, and we're going to continue to value that, the ability to finish and to grind through when it gets tough is something that we're going to be excited about, and we're going to give him every opportunity to develop and push him as fast as he'll let us go.